Hello everyone, Ultima's back with another video, but today instead of, driving into the One Punch Man universe, we're going to change gears and go to the Jurassic and also real life versions. I will be using the Indominus Rex from Jurassic World and later the Giga and the Spino. I'm putting it up against the real life Tyranno King, the Tyrannosaurus Rex. Who would come out on top, logically, and why? I'm not going to incoherently bullshit the verdict. I'm going to give you straight facts. If you disagree with me, I will gladly debate you on it. This is a very simple way to think about it. If you listen to me, and the only reason you wouldn't is probably because you're biased. I'm not claiming I'm right, but a lot of other people who know what they're talking about agree with me. So without any further ado, let's begin. I think the most important thing to go over, which is mostly supported by the real life, let's say, position, is the size of the animal. The dimensions of the Indominus Rex in size is 22 feet tall when rounded upwards and about 55 to 56 feet long when rounded upwards. But the weight of it is decently contentious. While a myriad of contrasting statements have it at different sizes, I propose we take the 10.5 stuff. 10.5 metric tons. This is due to the fact the Indominus Rex is way bigger than Rexy. Rexy herself is about 44 feet long and 7 tons, so if you use the square cube law, due to the fact these animals are similar in proportions and characteristics, since it's literally modified from one, we can say the Indominus Rex being in the 10 ton ish range would be reliable and good for this matchup. The IRL Tyrannosaur, on the other hand, is about 50 kilograms lighter on this individual in particular, who seems to be a larger individual than the average, but oh well, and about 10.4 meters long, while the Indominus Rex is about 16.9. So as you can clearly see by the size chart on your screen right now, given by Python08, the Indominus Rex definitely dwarfs this Tyrannosaur, but the weight is comparable enough to where the matchup is can be thrown in either way. So there goes that argument. The second argument I also need to disclose why it's not applicable to this battle. This argument is that the IRL Tyrannosaur has a higher bite force than Rexy, and Rexy was able to put notable dent marks in the Indominus, therefore the IRL T-Rex could do even more damage to the Indominus and, quote, kill her. Three different problems and three different counter arguments can be made quite simply. One of them is the fact that Indominus Rex's endurance was able to make her withstand these weaker bites from Rexy, quote, weaker bites, when they're actually not. And she was able to keep fighting, meaning even if the IRX could get these bites off, it would not actually be sufficient enough to do anything other than just annoy the Indominus before the Indominus just swats at the T-Rex. Counter argument number two, the Indominus Rex has survived far worse than the IRX could output in pure pressure. The Indominus Rex is able to withstand the Ankylosaurus's club tail to the face, literally tank it, and with no difficulty. This club has been stated, I think, a couple of times actually, so it's not some mistranslation or whatever, to 400 megapascals. This gaps the IRL Tyrannosaurus bite, which at peak, probably around the 12,000 to 15,000 pound range, compared to Rexy's, which is only about, 6,000 pounds. So the Indominus Rex can clearly withstand pressures way higher than this. You can just also put up the Mosasaurus just slamming down on her neck. Clearly the IRL Rex can't actually do anything. And counter argument number three is that Rexy is just blatantly stronger than the IRL Rex. Her damage that comes from her rams and bites is from her own power and not her own bite force. This is due to her own feats, which would counteract the whole bite force thing and would give Rexy's bite force a way higher result. So we can just say that bite force in the Jurassic World universe only works if a dinosaur is specifically trying to clamp down on something and crush it instead of thrashing around or pushing forward and yada yada. So there goes that argument as well. Now we can get into the more power scaling aspect of it, of figuring out how capable these characters are. Let's go with physical strength first. The Indominus Rex is able to tackle around with Rexy. This version of Rexy can throw around the Indominus way later in the fight. Such a feat would require about 40.5 metric tons of force. This might be consistent with the fact that Rexy in Dominion, who is weaker than Jurassic World, can throw the Giga 10 tons. Rexy in Jurassic World should also be stronger than Big E.T., can shoulder check Spino, which is about 10 tons. And then the Indominus Rex is just verbatimly stronger than Spino as a whole. Spino can tackle with an 8-ton Rex, so this agenda seems to be pretty consistent compared to the IRX's. Pinnacle being about 10 tons if we scale it to his own body weight, which First Power Wiki does allow. So yeah, Indominus Rex takes this point too. Just for speed, the Indominus Rex can run about 30 to 35 miles per hour, while the IRX T-Rex can't even reach 15 miles per hour. So again, any speed category can just be assumed to go to the Indominus as well. She can keep up with Rexy, who has her own calculations of speed, which would vastly gap anything the T-Rex could possibly do in the real world. So again, speed goes to Indominus. Now what about attack potency and durability? To go over attack potency and durability, which is the main factor when opposing two different carnivores, I think we should go with IRL Tyrannosaur. While it's very hard to engage how powerful a Tyrannosaur could outburst, we can use basic kinetic energy and gravitational potential energy these animals produce by, Rexy falling over, for example, and ramming into a wall, to see how much energy they produce. The real-life Tyrannosaur, if we apply kinetic energy, we'll be able to ram a wall with 105,000 joules of energy. Its gravitational potential energy gets bumped up even further to 421,000 joules, a near 4 times difference, which would mean that durability would also scale to this. But what does the Indominus Rex bring to the table exactly? The Indominus Rex's own kinetic energy is 1,250,000 joules, while its own gravitational potential energy is about 710,000 joules. But it gets way better from here. The Indominus Rex is able to endure a rocket launcher blast to its side area, which would be the equivalent of surviving 11.3 million joules. But when the Indominus Rex smashes through the aviary, it gets bumped all the way up to 142 million joules of energy. This vastly gaps the IRL Tyrannosaur to a point it's arguably a one-shot. So now we've gone over also the Indominus Rex would take combat and just intelligence. I mean, she's a really extremely smart animal. That's literally her whole character. That would be above any IRL animal. And for combat, she's able to adapt to her adversaries and able to overcome them, pointing out weaknesses and exploiting them. So she'd take combat and intelligence pretty handedly. So I'd give it to the Indominus, but if you want to give it to the Tyrannosaur, then you can. I don't care too much. So from what the verdict we can gather, Indominus Rex would get size, strength, speed, attack potency, durability, combat, and basically battle IQ and intelligence. There's nothing really that IRL Tyrannosaur can really take. It wouldn't take endurance, nor would it take stamina. But then Indominus Rex can run around an island for hours on end and endure several T-Rex bites without being fatigued nor actually slowing down in any capacity. She has significantly better ways to deal with the Tyrannosaur, and she has better hacks, if you want to even include hacks. So we really have to kind of look at it in this objective stance instead of trying to use terrible battle analysis, and we have to give the verdict and the winner to the Indominus Rex with literally no to low difficulty. If you have a problem with my verdict and with my scaling, I will happily debate you. But for now, everyone, I hope you had a good day. Goodbye.